confidence, not arrogance, confidence. The confidence to believe that a young Caribbean man could dream boldly. The confidence to compete on any stage and not bat an eye. The confidence to lead and the confidence to serve. My parents had trusted me enough to leave me alone, to leave home. Canada Hall strengthened that trust. It gave me room to grow, room to fail, room to learn, and room to discover who I was becoming as a person. I have the remarkable opportunity and blessing of interacting with young people. We just finished our 56th annual meeting in the Bahamas, and we started that meeting with a youth fire forum. And I had occasion to speak to the young people there. And brothers, I want to share with you, confidence is one of the greatest gifts we could give our young people. I listen to the work that this foundation is doing in reaching the next generation. As I had occasion to say at the opening ceremony of the Board of Governors, 56 years ago, the founders of the Caribbean Development Bank had a vision that this region had what it takes to stand on the world stage. And so they created an institution called the Caribbean Development Bank. They created a movement that would benefit generations they would never have the opportunity to meet. That is what is the ethos of the Hermitage. And that is what is also, in listening this evening, is the ethos of the Hermitage Foundation. What you are doing will ultimately benefit people who, and I need you to absorb this, will never know you by name, ever. But their lives will be made easier because of the work that you're doing. Just like how so many lives right now across this region are benefiting from the lessons we learned from the hall, but they will never even know there was a Canada Hall. Confidence that we can stand up and represent who we are and where we're from. Because confidence creates possibility. And possibility creates transformation. Too often, I've seen it, too often we underestimate ourselves as Caribbean people. Too often, we think greatness belongs elsewhere. Well, I have been elsewhere. And I can tell you that greatness resides in our chest. The history of this region tells a different story when it comes to thinking that greatness is the domain of others. This region has produced scholars, innovators, artists, athletes, entrepreneurs, and statesmen whose impact far exceeds our size. We are small in geography, but never in potential. And institutions like the University of the West Indies and brotherhoods like Canada Hall have helped shape generations of Caribbean leaders who have demonstrated exactly that. Over the years, I've come to appreciate that leadership is not fundamentally about authority. It is about service. It is about bringing out the best in others. It is about creating environments where people can flourish. It is about building trust, and it is about inspiring collective success. These are not lessons I learned from management textbooks. I learned them from holding lines on Canada Hall. I learned them from very, very late night conversations, through friendships that have stood the test of time and represented here on this call, through moments of challenge and moments of intense joy. I remember afterward calling me and telling me about Head Horn getting accepted at Oxford University. This man wasn't even in our year. This man wasn't in our year. He was after us. But Bert called me and told me about what Head Horn was doing with respect to fuzzy logic or some mathematical sciences that neither of us could fully articulate, but we felt immense joy for him. Why? Why these things defy the logic that the world order currently right now would have us believe is acceptable. That is what brotherhood is about. That is how we rise. Because the hall gave us something increasingly rare in today's world. It gave us belonging. And belonging creates leaders who understand that success is never an individual accomplishment. It is always a shared achievement. So as we reflect on the legacy of the hall, I believe we are celebrating something larger. We are celebrating, friends, the enduring promise of the Caribbean. The idea that despite our size, despite our vulnerabilities, and despite our differences, we we have been, we are, and we forever will be stronger together. We are celebrating that collaboration matters, that unity matters, that brotherhood matters. And perhaps nowhere is that spirit better embodied in that original vision of the University of the West Indies, made manifest in Canada Hall. For generations, UWI has been one of the greatest expressions of regional integration. But long before integration was fashionable, Canada Hall was producing Caribbean citizens, not Bajans, not Jamaicans, not Trinidadians, not just Antiguans or Aleutians or Kititians or Guyanese. Canada Hall was producing West Indians, people who understood that our destinies are intertwined. Men who recognize that the success of one country contributes to the success of us all. And that philosophy remains essential as we confront the challenges of our time, from climate change and food sovereignty to energy transition and economic transformation. Our future will not be built island by island. It will be built together as one Caribbean family. And so this evening, I stand